And we are recording. Welcome, everyone. This is your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. First of all, this channel is proudly sponsored by Inkforged. This is a fantasy role playing game of high detail but very easy to understand. You can imbue your weapons and gear using magically charged ink. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by the Red Room Publishing. Please check out their store for exclusive tabletop RPG products. They have recently released New Flesh, a future noir tabletop RPG where cyberpunk meets biological horror. You will find the link in the description and in the pinned comment. This channel is also proudly sponsored by Dead Tree Studios, the publishers and developers of Dames of Asstoria, a tabletop RPG where you play as monster girls, experiencing high adventure in a world that doesn't fully accept them. They have recently released Daughters of Lamb. This is a pay what you want tabletop RPG where you play as cybernetic nuns with guns, looking for the pieces of their AI god. You will find it in their website. The links are in the description and in the pinned comment. Now, let's close this. Uh-huh. And then we maximize, activate. All right. This time I'm going to talk about tabletop role-playing game mechanics considerations, or mechanic considerations rather. There are three things that I always become aware of as I experience various tabletop RPGs. I try to match the mechanics to those three aspects, or rather, I try to identify those three aspects in the different mechanics, in different processes to solve checks related to combat, related to investigation, related to climbing, to anything, performing, developing technology, anything, any action that you take in the game. I always make sure that the mechanics employed in a particular system have perhaps at least two, I would say, of the prerequisites that I am going to mention. In a lot of cases, those three prerequisites or aspects are met perfectly. In other cases, just one or two. And depending on those considerations, I can decide if I need to tweak some things, to add some things, remove some things, remove the entire mechanic altogether, apply something else. The first aspect, effectiveness. How effective is your mechanic to solve various situations, checks, tests? Just to further clarify, because perhaps some people have only played tabletop RPGs that use dice. Usually you roll your dice, you try to roll above a certain number to beat the difficulty. Perhaps you need to roll under a certain number. In other cases, perhaps the game is played with cards. Just to give a few examples, there are many other ways of solving, like in resource use, etc. In the case of cards, draw a card, and the value should be able to match the difficulty or surpass it in order for the action to be successful. But in diceless systems, you have a set value, a characteristic, or a skill. You describe your action as a player, you describe the action of your player character, and then the game master compares that value of the skill that you used, of the power or attribute, whatnot, to the difficulty. And if it matches the difficulty or surpasses it, if the difficulty is beat by you beat the difficulty with the value, it's a success. So as long as you can resolve various situations where the outcome is uncertain, then that mechanic is perfectly fine. Second aspect, theme. There are some mechanics that simply do not match the theme. For example, exploding dice. For those of you unfamiliar with exploding dice, you make your roll. If you roll the maximum value, you get to roll again. So, for example, if you roll a d12 and you roll a 12, you get to roll another d12. If you roll a 12 again, you get to roll another d12, and so forth. You end up with some incredibly over the top results. It reminds me of Chris Redfield in Resident Evil 5 punching a boulder out of the way with his bare punch, with his bare fist. For those sorts of over the top action experiences, if you want to play like a Resident Evil experience in tabletop RPGs, at least when it comes to Resident Evil 5, that would fit the theme perfectly. But what if you are playing a tabletop RPG where the characters are not as physically capable? Perhaps a Lovecraftian game with all of those professors and antiquarians, or even perhaps a boxer or a bodybuilder. The world presented by Lovecraft when it comes to humanity is not that over the top. So exploding dice would be pretty bad in that case. They would result in some outcomes that border on the anime side of things. So over the top. So in that case, the mechanic wouldn't be thematic in harmony with the theme of the Lovecraftian experience. So it's all about what you are searching for. In the case of the third aspect, fun. The mechanics need to be fun. I would say that's a huge priority when it comes to using those mechanics. And there are some mechanics that have no tactical or strategic consideration whatsoever. There is no way to play around with those mechanics, and they are just there to add that extra flavor or surprise. Like for example, maybe you roll a couple of six-sided dice, and if you roll two threes, double three, now you get to roll four six-sided dice. Again, it's a bit like the exploding dice mechanic, but slightly tweaked. But it's and apart from the over-the-top results, unless there is some sort of resource or other mechanic or meta currency that allows you to manipulate or choose the dice, sometimes you just have a lot of fun getting those values. Oh, I rolled a three twice. I almost never do that. Wow. And now I am rewarded because now I can choose results because it says here in the chart that if you rolled um, three, four, five, and six, when you roll four dice, you get to choose from this menu of abilities and powers. So it adds to the fun, to the surprises, to the oh, how interesting! Oh, what did I get now? Oh, I'm so surprised. So overall, I would recommend that whenever you play tabletop RPGs, you think about those three aspects or considerations. Are the mechanics effective? Are they fun? Are they thematic for the experience that you are trying to represent? Or have and that way you can figure out if you need to apply some tweaks, remove some things, add some things, remove the system entirely and use another system with the same campaign setting. There are just so many possibilities, but if you want like three anchor points: effectiveness, uh, theme, and fun. Effectiveness, theme, and fun. As simple as that. Well, thank you for watching this video. This has been your host, Abraham L. Jaguar, a professional game master. Don't forget to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you so much to those of you that are going the extra mile to support the channel. If anyone else wishes to further support the channel, consider joining as a member using the super thanks button. Like, subscribe, take a look at the information in the description, the pinned comment. And remember, in tabletop RPGs, you are not having a conversation about your characters. You are experiencing the game world as your characters. Once again, thank you, and see you later.